We back. Stay winning in the building.
Here you go.
Yeah, like I'm saying, we got to get it right now.
Amped up. Let's do it.
Got to get it. It's Friday.
It's Friday night.
You know what I'm saying? Had my chicken. You eat chicken?
I had some chicken.
I had some chicken too. Hey, you know us.
We sound greasy, man. Let's come on. Let's just keep this. Let's get off the chicken.
Hey, man. I'm one of your hosts, Talib.
I'm Curtis.
You know we here. Listen, man, hit the like button. Hit the bell icon, subscribe to the channel, tell everybody about it. Stay winning, we're gonna keep this content.
I stay winning. I'm winning, I stay winning. I did it, I stay winning. I'm winning, never losing. I'm winning, or caught slipping. I did it, I stay winning. I'm winning, I stay winning. Yeah.
Hey man, today, big weekend. Big college basketball weekend.
Yeah, game start on Saturday. Right?
Yeah, man, Final Four is here. We got a local team.
Yes.
Big time local team with a big time superstar.
That's right.
I'm gonna give him, he is a superstar in college basketball, man. Got the Duke Blue Devils.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Houston.
Against the Houston
Cougars.
Houston Cougars.
Right.
But Cooper Flag is the star
of
stars
during the Cougars.
It is. It is the
You sure?
Cougars. Yeah, I am.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Cooper Flag is he legit.
AP player of the year.
He legit, man. He legit. And then on the other bracket, we got Auburn, who's been #1 all year long.
As they should be.
And good to Florida.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be some good matchups this weekend.
Florida might have the player, might have the March Madness player this year.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that's going that kind of got the exposure he needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get ready for the NBA.
I got Florida winning it all.
Yeah.
So I got them beating Auburn. And unfortunately, I got Houston beating Duke.
Why you say unfortunately?
Because, we local. So, any Duke fans, my bad.
They'll deal with it.
Ain't got no choice. Suckers.
By the way, we coming to you live from the Tar Heels fan cave down here.
Yeah,
it's on the wall.
We can't say Duke too loud in this house. You gotta be careful.
You gotta whisper that.
Yes, sir. You got to be careful. But man, with the team that we talking about, you got Houston winning it all.
I got Houston winning it all.
Houston winning it all.
Yeah.
I think Houston is a good, tough matchup for Duke because they got grown men. They got like 5th and 6th year seniors.
Yeah.
They got grown man strength. Well, you know what I'm saying? Teenage strength and grown man strength is very different.
Well, Duke has the 4-star caliber talent.
Yeah.
And Houston has a bunch of 3-stars.
Yeah. But
they have the better coach in my opinion.
Okay. You know what's funny is I learned a lot about John Shadeur this week.
Why?
So here's the thing. Do you know his history?
No.
All right.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I know that. So John Shadeur is a cool dude.
Yes.
He's a cool dude, and he is an underrated Duke player.
Okay.
In my opinion.
All right.
Because he is a very impactful player in Duke history.
Yes, he is.
But tell him why he's a cool dude.
So this is what I learned about John Shadeur, Duke University head coach. So he's from Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah. Thank you. He was Mr. Illinois.
Yeah.
All right. And Patrick Beverly said, look, he was about all the smoke.
Yes, sir.
Wherever they was playing,
he
coming there and giving you buckets.
Yep.
All right. I just saw a clip. He scored 21 points.
Yeah, like 7 seconds or something.
In like 27 seconds.
Yeah, it was nuts.
In the high school championship game. End up losing, but it's what like transcended his stardom, in Illinois.
It also shows you the thing that stands out about him. He was, when he played, one of the most headsy players to play the game. And now as a coach, like now he's applying that
same type of coaching. Yes.
Like he is an extreme, has an extremely high basketball IQ.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And what I didn't know that, but this is how his NBA career got cut. He got poked in the eye and became legally blind.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that's what ended his career. Yeah. Right. So he had to get choppered off, had his eye repaired, that ended his career. It was in Orlando. He's an Orlando Magic summer league practice, and he got poked in the eye. And that's what ended his career. He was legally blind. So it's a crazy story.
He's local though. We gotta get him here.
Correct. Definitely. Right. But man, Cooper Flag, man, he's legit. The Duke team is tough. And they're big.
I like Knipple. Yeah.
They're big.
He's like a point guard, but he's like 6'7".
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. Like I remember early in the season, he had a heck of a game that kind of stood out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, that's their point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was talking to another like a Duke fan.
Yeah.
And they were telling me like, yeah, you know, that's the point guard or whatever. And I was like, you know, how big is he?
Yeah.
Find out that he's huge, man. Like,
they're big.
You talk about a Luka Doncic
6'7",
style.
6'8". They're big.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, a 6'2" point guard.
It's small.
It's
really small. It's back like the old days when you know there was a time in the 90s where all the guards got to be like 6'5" and 6'8". They all got big. Steve Smith, Anthony Hardaway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Joe Johnson.
Yes.
That era.
Big guard. You know what I mean? So it's kind of going back to that same time where the smaller guards are kind of looking like, well, they're too small, but they got all the skills, all the handles, and that's what keeps them in the league. The Jalen Brunsons, Trae Young, they're smaller, but it reminds you of that time frame where all the guards are big, and then you got this crew of small guards that are dominating still, even though they're on the small side. You know what I mean?
That's right. You touching on something because Penny coming in at 6'7" as a point guard.
Yep.
Kind of changed the NBA and made other people say, well, go find me a guy like that.
Absolutely.
And you end up with the Steve Smiths, the Joe Johnsons, and so on and so on.
Yep.
And then it went back to being, you know, the small and speedy guys again. Probably when AI kind of reigned for a while.
Yeah, because he was an anomaly. I mean, in that time frame, Steve Nash was another one that came out of nowhere.
6'1".
Maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have like those in between guys.
Right.
Guys like Darren Williams.
Yeah. Darren Williams is a big guard. He's like 6'3".
Big, right? But he was
6'3",
stocky,
thick.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
So what I think you like to me what I was getting from what you were saying is who are the influencers now?
Right.
Because you know, we saw Steph Curry change the game.
Correct.
And now people don't care what size you are, go get me a shooter.
Yeah.
Elijah McCain came out of Duke last year. He's a small guard. He was hurt this year in the NBA, but he has a promising career ahead of him as long as he can keep shooting that thing.
Yeah.
But now, is Luka the model? He's like 6'8", 6'9". LaMelo Ball, 6'8". Is this the model that people are looking at, saying, go get me a guard that's like that?
You have to. It's the same thing with the center position, right? You got to find me a shooter. I need a big guy that can step out and hit that shot.
Yeah.
That's how the game, materialized. You see it in college basketball. Now, here's the thing, though. In college basketball, they still play inside out.
Yeah.
Right? And you see a lot more posts.
If you have the big guy.
But a lot of these Final Four teams got post players. Duke, I can't think of the young man named, he's 7'2". He's swatting everything that come up in there. But these got these big boys that put that shoulder in his chest, and that's the difference between Houston and Duke, is that they got bodies that can bully the bigger, smaller.
The tall guys.
They tall and they're more slender. These guys for Houston, they're not as tall, but they're stronger, they're bigger. So it's gonna be a good matchup.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a close game. And I don't even know if you could call it an upset. They're 2-1s.
It's 4-1s in the
correct.
Final Four.
Yeah. So it's not really an upset. It's just whoever was the better team that night wins the game.
Yeah.
So I got Houston winning a close game. It's gonna be high scoring too.
We've seen a number of close games in the NCAA tournament this year. So I kind of feel like that's you cheating.
Maybe
you got recency bias going.
Maybe.
You're like, everything's been.
I think it's gonna be maybe not a high scoring game because both of those guys locked in on the defensive end. Duke played great defense too. They shut Alabama down. Like Alabama couldn't get none of those threes off that they was getting in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So I got this game somewhere in the 80s.
Okay.
The winner's gonna have mid to low 80s in order to beat the other. So Houston something like 83 to 79, something like that.
I was gonna say I got Duke, not Duke. I got Duke in the 70s. I got Houston in the 80s.
Yeah. So now Florida and Auburn is gonna be interesting because like I said, Auburn been number 1 all year.
Yeah.
And they got that big boy down low with that left hand shot. Man, I don't know.
Just lefty.
He left-handed. Okay. And he just be throwing it in off glass, bucket. He get to that. He reminds me of Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph had no right hand, and you couldn't stop him. He got off the ground that much, and it was a bucket.
Zebo.
All day.
Yeah.
But Florida boy, Jokers got the best guards left in the tournament.
Yes, they do.
And guard play typically is what carries you in March Madness.
What's their names?
Don't know.
One of them named Clay or Clayton, something like that.
His mama called him Clay?
Clay. Yeah, I think his mama called him Clay. I think his name is Clay.
I don't know the names.
Yeah.
But what I do know is them Florida guards, they guard the truth.
They can shoot that thing.
And I got them beating Auburn.
Especially that kid Clay.
Yeah, Clay can shoot it.
He's also showing in the tournament that he's clutch.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes, because they had to come back and win a game. I think it was in the Sweet 16. They were down, and they came back down like 10 points late in the second half.
Yeah.
And walked them Tuckers down.
Yeah.
But I got Florida winning another close game, but I think this one's gonna be more high scoring. This one might approach triple digits. So I'm thinking somewhere in the 90s, something like 96, 91. Something like that.
I don't know enough to even try to give a score. So,
So
I'm just gonna.
I'm guessing Florida.
Ride with your pick.
Yeah.
I just want to. I do want to see. Like, this is the thing that's exciting about this time of year for me is seeing which of these players that I don't even know because I don't watch a ton of college basketball. Yeah. But who's going to emerge so that by the end of the tournament I know their name. Yeah. So that Florida guard, whose name I don't fully know,
it's Clay.
I'm about to know his name. You know what I'm saying? And to me, like, I like to watch players stock rise. I like to see these guys go from, like, you know,
who were you?
People barely know you.
So now you become a lottery pick.
Maybe you're a second round pick, and now you're a 20th pick.
Yes.
You know, when you get into the teens or something like that. Like, I like looking for guys like that, man. How tall? You know how tall Clay is?
No, I don't. But he's good. He's still. I don't think he's anything over 6'4".
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think he's right in that range.
You
know what I'm saying? Yeah, he could play. I got Florida winning a good game there against Auburn, and I got Florida winning the national championship.
And I got Houston winning.
Yeah, so that's going to be a good matchup. If Florida-Houston matchup, honestly, if any other 4-1s matchup, it's a good matchup, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I got Florida winning it all, beating Houston in a good game for the national championship.
Isn't it nuts that the city of Houston have one of the best NBA coaches in Ime Udoka. And they have one of the best college coaches in Kelvin Sampson. Yeah. Like, to be in Houston and get to watch that level of basketball, it's dope.
But you know what? And mentioning it from that angle, even though these are two college coaches, how great of a history and how much prestige does the UConn basketball program on both sides have?
Yeah, that's fair.
With Dan Hurley.
That's fair.
And Gene. I mean,
Well, Gino, Gino is a living legend.
Correct.
Hurley's getting there.
Correct.
But he already thinks he's there.
That's true.
That's a problem.
That's true.
But to be fair,
you know what I'm saying? When you go to UConn and you playing basketball, whether you're a men's program or the women's program, you talk about a rich history. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, second best school in the Big East. But to be fair, man, Dan Hurley's sort of chip on his shoulder. Remember, he's a former he didn't play for Duke. He played for Seton Hall.
He did.
Former Seton Hall player. His brother played for Duke, and his dad was a legendary coach at St. Anthony's.
Yes, sir.
So when you talk about the shadows that he had to grow up in
and grow out of,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knew Bobby Hurley.
Correct.
Everybody knew his dad.
Correct.
Now you got him as sort of the third string, and he's making a great name for himself.
Listen,
at UConn.
Listen, man. with all due respect to how great of a basketball player Bobby Hurley was at Duke, Dan Hurley's legacy is starting to not just match it, but potentially could overtake Bob Hurley's legacy when it comes to him continuously winning at a high level on the college level, man. So
For sure.
absolutely, man. That's big time.
But that's a dope family too, to just, you know, to have that kind of influence around you and push you to be great. Just like we saw it with the Foster siblings that we interviewed last week, man.
That's true. Now, Trent just sliding right on into whole family legacies. One of the great, if not the greatest.
LeBron James.
No. You know, we gotta mess the show up with a LeBron quote. Okay. You just like Tracy and this Joker stuff. Tracy, man, go sit down somewhere.
I do this for entertainment. Anyway.
Just pivoting to another up and coming son. Had a great pro day today in Shadeur Sanders. Right? And of course, man, the shadow of his father is huge. You know what I mean? We talking about arguably the greatest cornerback of all time.
Right.
One of the best athletes of all time. And his dad is now becoming a very good college football coach at the University of Colorado in Deion Sanders, primetime Deion Sanders. And, you know, Shadeur had his pro day today. And you know what I want to ask and want to know what you think is, where should he go to be successful? Not where you want him to go, but where do you think he can go on an NFL team, on an NFL roster, and actually begin to make his mark? A mark similar to Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels came into the NFL this year and immediately made an impact, Rookie of the Year, and got his team to the NFC Championship game. Now that's a high, that's a high bar.
That's unusual.
Right, that's a high bar. But at the end of the day, he had the talent, he put the work in, good team around him, good coaching staff, success.
Yeah, everybody's not going to be Jaden.
Correct. Where do you think he could go, though? Where do you think that could be for him, for Shadeur Sanders?
Before I answer that question, let me counter with a question.
Come on now.
Who is going to be compared to Deion more, Shadeur Sanders or Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter.
Okay, just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, Travis Hunter.
So,
Travis Hunter is everything staying right, health-wise, circumstance-wise. He can be a generational first ballot Hall of Fame player. With his talent. That's how good Travis Hunter is.
So all right, so let's jump into this then. Let's get back to Shadeur.
So
top 3 picks. You got the Titans, the first pick.
Right.
You have who has the second pick?
Is it the Giants?
Cleveland.
Cleveland
Cleveland has the second pick.
Yeah.
And the Giants have a third pick.
Right.
And we expect Shadeur to go somewhere within the top 3.
Yes.
So that's why I'm not even gonna name anybody else.
Right.
Because Shadeur should be gone
in the top 3.
Those top 3.
Right.
Where do I think he can go to have to basically have a huge impact? Cleveland. Okay. And here's why. Cleveland has sucked forever.
That's very true.
Despite having great players. So this is not. I'm not condemning the players. I mean, come on. Myles Garrett is the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Correct.
And that defense is not just him. He has other ballers on that defense.
He does.
I think Ward is
he does.
A great defensive back on that defense.
Yep.
They got other players. Forgive me for not naming everybody.
Yeah.
And offensively, they've had great players come through there, like Amari Cooper, like Baker Mayfield came through there.
Yeah.
He got drafted there.
Yeah.
So what's been the problem with Cleveland? It's been the culture.
Yeah.
It has to be, right? Because I mean, if you got all of these great players,
what's wrong?
And you've had some decent coaches come through there, something else got to be going on.
Yeah.
And what did Shadeur say? Shadeur said he wants to be a culture changer.
Yeah.
Effectively, that's kind of what he said. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But he basically said like he's going to come in and try to do things the right way.
Correct.
And he's going to try to lead the organization and try to shift the culture. He said, if you're not ready to change your culture, don't draft me. Right? And so I think if I'm Cleveland, the organization, if I'm a Cleveland fan, and I see that we keep getting these fantastic players because we always end up with like a top pick in the draft, I want somebody that's going to come in and change the
Change
culture.
culture, yeah.
There's no better position to be a culture changer than your quarterback.
I agree.
That's the face of your team.
Your team, yeah.
Traditionally.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
yeah, go get Shadeur, support Shadeur,
Yeah.
bring him in, make Shadeur the reason why you do some really huge transitional things for this Cleveland team,
Right.
and set that team up for success 3-4 seasons from now.
Boy,
they're not going to do it in the first season.
You talking about a loaded AFC North Conference. If you draft Shadeur to Cleveland, knowing that he's going to have to deal with Lamar,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You got Pittsburgh, who's always tough. They're always in
they're probably going
games.
to have a run.
And then you got
No, they picked up somebody else, didn't they?
Cincinnati. Yeah. I don't know
Didn't the Steelers pick up a quarterback, sign somebody else?
if they did not.
Okay, so
They're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, they're still waiting on
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers.
is either going there or Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah.
But you got Joe Burrow
Right.
and Chase in Cincinnati. But that's a loaded division, and I believe that's the best division in football. Now I'm going to throw a different approach than the three teams that are at the top.
Okay.
Not saying that he won't get drafted in the three teams, but I'm just saying wish list. This team he falls to. They got an older quarterback who's on the end of his career, who could retire, who he can learn under, and they got a great Super Bowl winning coach. The Los Angeles Rams. Man, had that joker in LA behind Stafford for a year with the young receiver that he got and that coach. Man, that'd be a great fit because he's set up to success.
Did they get Devontae Adams? They
got
got
Devontae
somebody
Adams.
else. Yeah, they got Devontae Adams, right?
So he'll be set up for success because a lot
In a
of
couple
these
of years.
in a couple of years,
Yeah.
a lot of these great quarterbacks out of college go into bad situations. That's why they get picked so high because the team is hot garbage. You know what I'm saying? And it's not as easy to go from college to a bad pro team and turn it around. I mean, does it happen? Sure.
Right.
Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. You know, I mean, we can name a bunch of these Hall of Fame quarterbacks that struggled early in their career and then, took off. So we know it's possible. But if you want to set a player up to win, you want to kind of draft him around some form of stability.
Yeah.
So that he can learn behind or he can come in and don't have to do as much. Because the player that you didn't mention, which if he does go to Cleveland will really help him because he'll be 1 year removed from that major injury, Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Right? And even with all the injuries that he had, his talent was Hall of Fame talent. Now, whether or not he can have a long enough career to make the Hall of Fame, that's debatable.
Nick?
Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
But boy, when he is healthy,
Yeah, he's a top running back.
top running back in the league.
But I want to go back to this Rams dream.
Yeah,
that you just
and that's just the
described.
scenario
I know.
saying what team
You're
the
dreaming.
Rams.
You're dreaming.
It is. It really is. He gonna go in the top 3.
As a guy once told me, you're delirious.
Shots
Look.
fired. Shots fired.
Shadeur should not have to go into a situation where he comes off the bench the whole season.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so I think that there's promise there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think Stafford was going to play the whole year last year.
Yeah.
So who knows?
And he got him to the playoffs this
Who
year.
knows how he's
too.
feeling? But
yeah.
he still is under contract. So
Correct.
he might still have it in him to play the whole season.
Yeah.
And if he does, you don't take Stafford out. You don't replace Stafford.
Yeah, with Shadeur.
with Shadeur.
That's true.
You don't replace Stafford with anybody off
Yeah,
the bench
no.
because that's the Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Correct. Right.
Recently.
Correct.
So, that's kind of a tough situation
Yeah.
for him, but it's not a bad situation. I think Devontae Adams, if he comes there and they win, I think Devontae Adams plays out this contract and he's done.
Okay.
Right? I feel like he's looking for another ring.
Yeah.
He knows that he has the talent to help his team get there. He just
Yeah.
needs the right pieces around him.
Yeah.
Once he gets that ring,
Yeah.
I think he's ready to hang it up.
Kind of like Aaron Donald. He got a ring,
Yeah.
played another year, and was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that kind of energy there. But pairing like Puka Nacua with a young quarterback that's going to be there with him throughout his career could be a great idea. But Puka, the way Puka plays, man, I'm just hoping that he plays for a long time.
Yeah, because he runs to contact.
Yeah, he be looking for it.
Yeah, he runs to
He be
contact.
looking for it. Who gonna hit who harder?
One of the things, man, about Shadeur that I like is, and this is very different than a lot of sons that come behind their fathers who were great, right? He's self-made. He's very confident in his own ability. He handles the press very well when he communicates to them, when he answers questions, and he doesn't shy away from the lights. Like he stands
That
on
sounds like his dad.
totally.
So
It does, but
he's just not as arrogant.
yes.
Or he doesn't. He
Doesn't come off as brash.
Let me put-
Maybe
yeah,
that would be
yeah.
the word.
He
He's not
doesn't-
as brash as his father.
He don't say like Dion used to try to just hit you with a quick one liner. Boom, turn the camera off because I just killed that one. I'm out, baby.
Right.
You know, Dion was very
Right.
you know, just kind of in your
It was
face.
brash, yeah.
Yeah. And Shadeur's not that, but he is very confident,
Very.
and he backs that confidence up somewhat.
Yeah.
I say somewhat because I mean Buffalo still didn't
No.
do much.
No. But I think he's one of the few quarterbacks that is going to be drafted this year. I think Cam Ward is the number one pick. I think Cam Ward should be the first quarterback off the board.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tennessee is a place that I would want to go.
I don't know that Tennessee drafts a quarterback because I think they signed a free agent quarterback that they intend to start. I can't remember who it is right now, but
Yeah.
they signed
If
somebody.
you draft the number one
Yeah.
quarterback, you typically trying to play the number one. You trying to
Yeah,
if you draft
exactly.
one.
That's what I'm saying. They signed somebody. So I
Yeah.
think that's why I think Cleveland is probably the better spot. And I think Tennessee ends up taking like a Bill Carter or
That'd be very interesting, man.
Yeah.
If they draft Shadeur to Cleveland. Cleveland is one of those teams that you, in my opinion, you always want to root for because they've been so bad for so long. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about a nightmare scenario.
Oh God.
Not for me and not for you.
Yeah.
Before one of these franchises, historic franchises,
I'm listening.
that would have to make a very tough business decision.
Okay.
Number 1 pick in the draft, Tennessee takes Abdul Carter. Number 2 pick in the draft, Cleveland takes Shadeur Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Giants now have the 3rd pick in the draft. Best player available is Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they going to take?
Who should they take, or who are they going
Actually,
to
no. Let me scratch that. Let me go back.
Okay.
Cleveland don't take Shadeur because Shadeur shouldn't come off the board before Cam.
take? Right.
Cleveland takes Travis Hunter. 3rd pick in the draft. Shadeur's on the board. Cam's on the board. Your team needs a quarterback. You're paying an old guy. You're paying a not so old guy, and you got the Italian kid on the bench.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, New York? Because your future needs a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And your team's been around for 100 years, and you have never drafted a black quarterback. And the 2 top quarterbacks in this year's draft
Are sitting right in front of you.
sitting right in front of you, and they're both black. What do?
So,
Got to make a business decision.
as a Giant fan that you are, who do you prefer?
As a Giants fan,
Mm-hmm.
so up to me, I take Cam Ward.
Okay.
Right? No shade to Shadeur,
Yeah.
but I do think that Cam Ward has the bigger upside.
Okay.
Right? So I take Cam Ward, and Daves seems like he can develop a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I give Daves and Cam Ward the support they need to help Cam Ward develop into the next franchise quarterback. But as an organization, the Giants, when they started Geno Smith over Eli Manning, their fans in one of the richest parts of New Jersey were putting up billboards as for people to pass on their way into the stadium, saying you don't do this to Eli, right? You don't bench Eli. So they showed a lot of love for Eli.
Yeah.
John Mara, the owner, whatever they call him, the owner, governor of the Giants, was receiving letters from season ticket holders like, "Yo, I'm not re-ing up if this is what you're going to do."
Yeah.
So he faced a lot of backlash, or the Giants faced a lot of backlash just for saying like, "Hey, you know what? We're not winning right now.
Yeah.
Eli may not be the problem, but we need to do something different.
Yeah.
So let's start Geno Smith."
So look,
That's just starting a guy. Imagine trying to draft a guy.
imagine, because that's a very possible scenario,
Yeah.
right? Shadeur falls.
He's not going to the Rams, man.
I know,
If
right?
he go to the
But
Rams,
I'm just
I'll
saying,
give you $1.
he falls, right? Because the the dialogue.
He becomes potentially the 4th pick or the 5th pick.
Yeah, the dialogue is he's going to be the second quarterback taken off the board, and they're assuming Cam is going to go off the board first.
Well, the scenario that I painted though is he's still the second quarterback to come off the board potentially, but 2 defenders,
correct,
who arguably could be 1 and 2 in this drive, come off the board first.
Well, and I know this is something that he had mentioned. Shadeur Sanders had mentioned. If he does fall in the draft, he wants to fall to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah,
because he mentioned playing for the Raiders.
That's who he wants.
That would be his dream scenario, right?
Yeah.
How? Because that's another one of those franchises that is in that cloud like Cleveland that ain't done nothing and has just been dysfunctional and chaotic for years.
They signed a quarterback though, didn't they?
They did.
Who they sign? Good question.
What's his name? Sam Darnold.
Okay, yeah.
I think Sam Darnold went to the Raiders, right?
Yeah, that's somebody that whose spot Shadeur could take if he was
They just paid that man a bunch of money.
If he's playing poorly, bring Shadeur in. I mean, look at Kirk Cousins.
I agree, man. You know what I'm afraid for Shadeur is he goes somewhere and it's 3 years, 4 years before he gets out of the dungeon. Like there was a time.
What did he do in college?
I mean, he worked his way up to being a star quarterback, right?
A star quarterback?
I would say
or a good quarterback?
I'd say he was a star quarterback.
So he's a star, but not necessarily good.
No, he's a good quarterback.
Is he?
Yeah. He's definitely a good college quarterback.
Is he?
Yeah, absolutely.
He only going to the NFL because of his dad.
Oh, wow. We are not trying to manipulate this conversation, okay? Yo, hot take. You ready? Here it go. Bronny James should not have been drafted in the NBA. He should have went back to college. That's what we're saying. So
I didn't say anything about
I said it, okay?
I was talking about football. Let's keep it football.
Okay.
Why you going Bronny? Why you
Think
attacking
about
the James family out of the blue?
Man, ain't nobody
Can they
attacking them.
chill?
Yeah, they can chill. They can chill.
Can they live?
So look, right? Here's my thing, right? This is my thought process. For real talk. It took how many years before Baker Mayfield found a home and actually began to
but he had,
show forth the talent that he had in college?
Well, Baker, people expected Baker to struggle coming in because of his size, his lack of height.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons people were critical of him.
Yeah.
And what we saw when he came in is that there were games when he looked great and he made some fantastic throws, and there were games where it just seemed like he didn't know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a rookie.
Yeah.
He was a rookie.
His struggle lasted maybe all his time in Cleveland. He struggled.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's out of the water yet because he had some great moments.
So I'm gonna say he's out of the water because over the last 2 seasons he's led the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the best record in the NFC South and 2 playoff appearances. So he's out of the water.
He had more bad seasons than he had good seasons.
Yes, but we're talking about
a trend. You seen that happen, but is that due to him, or do they have enough around him to make up for his shortcomings?
Both. I think it's both.
So if you send him to another team,
it's got to be.
It's a crapshoot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. And that's a lot of quarterbacks, to be completely transparent, right?
But that's what separates the great ones from everybody else.
I know we talk about Shadeur, we're talking about the draft,
right.
But this player hasn't been the same since he left Seattle. Russell Wilson. And when he was in Seattle, it is a little different, but the circumstance, the surroundings, and his talent with Pete Carroll as the coach made him who we know him to be. He get from under Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
And we like, yo, you need to retire.
Well, so I ain't saying that.
You get what I'm saying? But it's circumstance.
I agree with your assessment. The difference is I think Russ still has all of the physical attributes to be a great quarterback.
Okay.
To be as great of a quarterback as he was in his best years with Seattle.
Yeah.
What gets in Russ's way is Russ. Right? Russ think that he's like, the best quarterback ever. And that he should be, any team he's on should be a pass heavy team. But maybe that's not the formula to win.
Do you believe with just that
I do believe.
statement? I know you do, right? Does Shadeur Sanders show those kind of personality traits where he can get in his own way if he's losing?
I'm thinking back now to like his college days, and have I ever heard him kind of blame anybody else or even try to take an outside amount of the blame and try to shoulder that? I don't think so. I think Shadeur would be grateful to have help.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like, put him on a team with a running back that's as capable as like a Marshawn Lynch. That's capable of having some of those moments, some of those seasons Marshawn Lynch has had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Shadeur would be like, yeah, like if we need to run the ball, we're gonna run the ball. I think he wants to play winning football. I don't think he cares as much about the show being about him.
I got it.
I think that's a thing that kind of plays in his favor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know that Russell Wilson wanted the show to be about him, but I think he honestly feels like the best way that he can help a team is to be passing the ball.
Yeah. I am excited to see where he goes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
What about the other guys? You don't care about them?
So
I'm excited to see where Travis Hunter goes.
I am.
And what position he plays.
He's going to play both, right?
Depends on where
But
he goes,
I think this is the one thing I think that is about Travis Hunter. I think wherever Travis Hunter goes, he's gonna make an impact.
Yeah.
Right? Like it don't make a difference who draft Travis Hunter. He's going to make a major difference for that football team. Now they may not be winning, so you may not hear about him as often as you hear about a Cam or Shadeur or some of these other major position players, but he is going to change the trajectory of any franchise he goes to because that's the kind of talent Travis Hunter is, right? I'm interested to see not only where Shadeur goes, but what is going to be around him wherever he goes, right? Because his name and the
You mean his father's name?
I was just about to say that. Yeah. the father's name has so much pedigree and so much respect that he is going to be a media buzz wherever he goes, right? It's no different than wherever he goes, it's like the New York market.
It's like Chris Sims all over again. Chris Sims. What a guy. So here's what I'm thinking, man.
I don't listen to Tom's guys.
Here's what I'm thinking. Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Transcendent athlete.
Yeah.
Transcendent, potentially transcendent wide receiver or transcendent DB or both.
Right.
Shadeur Sanders. Great quarterback or good quarterback?
I think he's a very good quarterback.
Very good quarterback. They played on the same team and didn't accomplish a whole lot in college. Right? So I don't think our expectation should be that either one of them are going to be the pieces that take a team to another level, because what we know is they seem very capable of being great talents. But do they play to win, or do they play for individual accolades?
It's a great question.
And we don't know yet, right?
It's a
Because
great question.
I'm asking this question on the scale of their NFL careers, which have not started yet.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, going to make the big difference. Because if Travis Hunter is going to play to win, then whatever team he goes, he's going to play whatever they need him to play.
Yes.
But if he's going to play for individual accolades,
Then he's going to play both.
he's going to play both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
He's going to be recognized as a great athlete on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know how great. I don't know where. My opinion, when he gets to the NFL, he will be an average wide receiver and an average DB. But if he plays one of them, he'll be above average.
Yeah.
And I think that's just based off of stamina.
Yeah.
And his body having to take those hits.
Yeah.
Because remember, we're not that far removed from that Stanford wide receiver eating his behind up just because he was bigger.
Yeah.
Now you gotta face that every day.
Every single game. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not trying to pick on him, but what I'm saying is I still need to see from these guys, are they just great numbers and great athletes, or are they gonna be winners?
Yeah.
And I haven't seen winning from them yet.
Yeah.
You saw Dion win.
Yeah.
but we haven't seen them win yet.
But you know, it's one of the things where those things sometimes don't translate, right? And what I mean by that is you can have an outstanding winner in college who doesn't be a winner in the NFL. Right? Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, you know, these
Joe
guys,
Burrow.
Vince Young. They didn't win in the NFL. Joe Burrow.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, now Joe Burrow has gotten to the dance, but he ain't win the dance.
Very early in his career.
Correct. We'll see if he get back.
But that's what I'm saying. He has the pedigree to get there.
This is
he has the type of right approach to get there.
We're going to end the show on this right here.
Here you go.
All right.
Maybe.
But this is a good point.
How you know? You ain't saying it yet. I'll let you know.
Dan Marino got to the Super Bowl early in his career.
Yeah.
Never went back.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Early in his career. Talent, I mean, legit and big time wide receiver. So did Dan Marino. You know what I mean?
Right.
Never got back.
Right.
Is Joe Burrow going to be this generation's Dan Marino?
Don't know. Good question. Good point.
What y'all think, man? Where does Shadeur go? Who should he go to? Is Travis Hunter going to be a better DB or wide receiver in the NFL? Who is your national champion this weekend, Final Four? We got some big time games. Let us know. Leave a comment, leave a like, and most importantly, stay winning.
I stay winning. I'm winning, I stay winning. I did it, I stay winning. I'm winning, never losing. I'm winning, or caught slipping.